discuss and also share about one very brief moment in the history of U.S. foreign policy, but also a very important moment or important period. This is what scholars use the term unipolar moment. So today we will focus on that by listening and also sharing your presentations on three presidents post-Cold War, so post-Cold War presidencies. So we have George H.W. Bush, or Bush Senior, or Bush 41, so I'm using on that because it's the president of 41. And we have Bill Clinton. Hopefully we have Bill Clinton here. Okay, and we have George W. Bush, or Bush Jr. You are doing that? Oh, okay, yes. Okay, so let me just give a brief explanation in terms of why unipolar moments, although this is happening very short compared to the long history of U.S. foreign policy. It's roughly like 10 years of unipolar moments, but because this is also the challenge or the questions are being asked when all the power is within your hand, so what you are going to do. Okay. So let me start by showing this, I think, familiar videos. Okay.
This guy, Flash Thompson, he probably deserved what happened. But just because you can beat him up doesn't give you the right to. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. You're a lot like your father. You really are, Peter, and that's a good thing. But your father lived by a philosophy, a principle, really. He believed that if you could do good things for other people, you had a moral obligation to do those things. That's what's at stake here. Not choice, responsibility. You listen to me. You have a gift. You have power. And with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Okay. So, which Spider-Man is your favorite? So yeah, the Tobey Maguire fan. Oh, okay. Tom Holland. Oh, okay, we have Tom Holland. Okay, so this is a very kind of what's it, iconic statements that over and over being mentioned. First by Uncle Ben doing the Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man. They meet again in multiverse. Yeah? Okay, yeah. So the first, just kind of briefly, sorry for the no subtitle. Later on, you can check. So basically, like there's incidents that I think Peter Parkers are doing something harm to friends or other people. So although Uncle Ben actually said that I know that he's a bad kid or something like that, but doesn't mean that he kind of said you have rights to kind of beat him or something like that, because they made a mistake and you have the right you do have the capability to punish. It doesn't mean that you said have right to punish him something like that. The same thing with the second on the Andrew Garfield, that yeah, Uncle Ben compared kind of with Peter Parker's fathers, that his father's also is a scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah, scientist. Okay, so that's knowledge. It's just like Peter Parker's has a gift, has resources, talents, but yeah, with that talents, if you have the means, the resources or power, let's say, doing good, if you have the means to do good to others, so this is not an option. It means that this is a moral obligation. So for the one who has power, who has resources, who has authority to do good to others, so it means that it's an obligation, moral obligation, that you need to do that. So you don't have only option that, oh, it's not my business, so let them do whatever they want to do, something like that. Same thing in the SOU with all the gifts that they have, or as a Spider-Man, so you, with the great powers come great responsibility. So this is actually just want to show in terms of the moment, important moment during the U.S. Foreign policy. Imagine that. Okay, so you're students. You are one of the best students in the class. Okay, but unfortunately, there is one guy in the classroom that always beat you. Every time you ask questions, he or she asks better questions. Every time he or she do presentations, you do presentations, he or she do better presentation. Every time you argue, she or he reply to you. So then actually this bring kind of obsessions, right? Every time you wake up in the morning from your dorm, so today I will beat Jody. Today I will beat him. So this will be my day. So this is things that you always think every day. What Jody plan to do today, I will. Okay, I need to do better. This is. This is what U.S. leaders or Americans thought for the whole almost like 50 years. So they wake up in the morning questioning, okay, what Soviet Union will do today, what response that we need to prepare, what kind of actions that we need to do. But suddenly, your nemesis, your arch enemy, just collapsed, gone. Your Jody's your rifle, this is just okay, not in the classroom anymore. So now the question is, yeah, what will you do now? Because now you are the only, or the best students in the classroom. You are nations that have all the power, military, economic capability that no other nations can compete with you. Let me use another example or story. We have Eiffel here, Gabriel Eiffel. So when he was a candidate of Puma IRCP, so okay, so during the elections, okay, I just make it like that. Okay. Just okay, he's thinking about okay, so I will make the best speech that I made today because I want to say better than the competitor or the other candidates. So I will ask these questions, I will argue this and that, something like that. So you prepare everything because you are the candidate of the chairpersons of Puma, and you know that actually if you get that authority, you actually will be better for yourself, but also for the organization. So you work hard for that position, right? Okay. But then everything runs smoothly. We have Eiffel as our chairpersons. So now the question is different because before Gabriel Eiffel is asking about how to be, let's say, Jody is very good, how to argue better than Jody, how to present more interesting than Jody, how to ask questions, how to bring unique vision or missions to Puma IR. So the idea is how to beat your competitor or let's say enemy. This is what Americans US foreign policy before, right, during Cold War, how to contain, how to stop, how to bring more influence, or how to kind of undermine the power of Soviet Unions. But now you are the only superpower in the world. So the question is just like in the in the Spider-Man. So you are not thinking now to how to beat others, but the question is what kind of responsibility is like so because he's the chairperson, so what kind of responsibility that I need to do? And all these three presidents are asking different questions with the different with the previous presidents. The question is, what does it mean being responsible? What does it mean in terms of responsibility as the superpower? So how to lead without dominating, how to maintain your national interest but without losing trust from others, right? Because if you people still think that I want to use Puma for my own benefit to get my project become famous or something like that. the other members will start questioning, okay, if only talking about himself, always his, always I, something like that. But now, so that's how to still, because I know everyone's showing organization, you do have some goals to achieve, right? You do have some interest. So, but how to balance that, maintaining your own national interest, but without losing trust from others who follow you, as a member of global, global system. So we will start with George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and then George W. Bush, how actually U.S. foreign policy questioning already trying to give answer in terms of what does it mean being responsible or bringing responsibility. Okay, so I would like to welcome the group to the first presentation. Okay. So while waiting for the group to prepare, I have assignment to other groups. Yeah. So we'll do kind of evaluations, peer evaluations. Each group will have this one sheet of paper, and you will assess the performance of your friends. Please score here in terms that you think that the contents that they're explaining is accurate, whether the arguments and analysis is good, organization of the clarity of the presentations, and so on. Yeah. So everyone will do the same. Each group will do the same. So I just one group for each. Okay, so one group. Okay.
Please be nice, guys.
Okay. So you are in one group, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you are all in one group or different?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yes. This one.
Okay. Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's ready for our presentation. So, as Cecilia said, okay, sorry. Our first president that we're going to discuss today is the George H.W. Bush. So, he's openly mistaken as his own son, but this is the senior one. This is George W. Bush father, and we're gonna talk about the United States after the Cold War, by analyzing the president, how the administration goes when George H.W. Bush is leading. Okay, next please. Okay, this is the table of contents. Of course, we're going to talk about the introduction of the George H.W. Bush first, and then the characteristic of the Bush, and then policies and main event for these leadership types, how he lead U.S. at that time, and then the conclusion, also the references we use. Next, please. Okay, we're coming into the introduction. So the introduction, George H.W. Bush or George Herbert Walker Bush. He's the 41st president of the U.S. and he's leading at 89 until 93. Sorry. So he was born at June. Is it June 9? Sorry. He born at Milton, Massachusetts, and then when he's 18 years old, he served as the youngest U.S. Navy pilots in World War II. Fun fact. When he served as a pilot, he once shot down by Japan in his mission and got saved by the Marine. And then after the World War is ending, he graduate. He choose to going to university, the Yale University, and yes, economics. He majoring in economics, and at that time he being the captain of the baseball team. Yay! And then after he graduated, he moved to Texas, building a successful career in the oil industry. So yeah, before he going into the politic field, he has a lot of journey. Like wow, we never expect what he want to do. Okay, next please. And coming into the political journey, he started as the congressman from Texas. And after he being the congressman of Texas, he held major roles such as U.S. ambassador to the UN, and envoy to China, also director of the CIA. Wow, I'm also amazed by that. And then because of there's a lot of journey that he been the pilot, also the ambassador of US. Well, he known as someone who have a deep foreign policy expertise, and because he's an ambassador, he have diplomatic style of ambassador. And after that congressman era, he started his presidency journey as vice president, and after vice president, he come to the president itself, serving vice president under Ronald Reagan, 81 until 89, and then gained national trust for his calm leadership. And after that, he elected at 88 and inaugurated at 89. Okay, that's for me. My friend will continue it.
Okay, thank you so much, Jemima, for the interesting introduction. So we separate the U.S. under the Bush into the 3 points. The first one is Bush identified as a moderate conservative. On the other hand, his belief in diplomatic and multilateralism in the second one. And then the third one is domestically, he is a less ambitious and faced a recession during his period of administration. So the first, no, maaf bang. The first one, Bush identified as a moderate conservative means that he is a bit liberal when we talk about the foreign policy because he always state that if you want to if we want to get a peace, we should trying to build a new coalition building, and also trying to negotiate some cases that we face during this period using the diplomatic style, and then open for the discussion with the Gorbachev. You can see a lot of picture of Bush and also Gorbachev trying to negotiate all of things that happened during the Cold War, and then he also believed that the multilateralism and cooperation between nations is most important during that period. And then the third one, domestically, he is a less ambition and faced a recession that made him at that time. Made him at that time got a lot of critics coming from the domestic affairs, and also what truly defined Bush's presidency was the foreign policy as stated by Jemima before. His administration saw the end of Cold War, managed the peaceful reunification of Germany, and also navigate the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, if I'm not mistaken. Rather than the exploiting the USSR collapse, Bush acted with restraint, preferring stability over the collaboration, and also refilled the core elements of his leadership, like I stated before, diplomacy over dominance, and also order over the order over the chaos. So next one, please.
So yeah, we jump to major policies and important efforts of the George Herbert Walker Bush administration. So George H.W. Bush was the very first president of the United States, serving from 1989 to 1983. His presidency came at a time of profound change in the world, particularly with the end of the Cold War and the dissolution of the Soviet Union. This made many of his foreign policies and important decisions highly influential in world history. So here are the major policies and main event for the major policies. For the first is Nuclear Arms Reduction Treaty, or START 1. It is one of the most significant achievements in foreign policy was the signing of the START 1 treaty in 1999 with Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev. So this treaty aims to reduce the strategic nuclear weapons of both countries by approximately 25 to 30%. So this was a crucial step in preventing a nuclear arms race and fostering global stability after the Cold War. The second one is North America Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA. Thus also play a key role in the initial negotiation of NAFTA, a free trade agreement between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Although formally ratified during Bill Clinton's term, the foundation of the agreement was laid during Bush's tenure. NAFTA also opened market and strengthened regional economic cooperation, encouraging trade growth among the three countries. The third one is Clean Air Amendments in 1990. So in environmental policy, Bush demonstrated his commitment to air pollution control by signing major amendments to the Clean Air Act. These amendments type regulation on industrial and vehicle emission and introduced an emission trading system to reduce acid rain. The fourth one is American with the Disabilities Act in 1990 also. In the area of civil rights, Bush signed the ADA, a landmark law protecting the rights of people with disabilities. This law prohibits discrimination in employment, transportation, public accommodation, and government service. This demonstrates his concern for social inclusion. And the last but not least, fiscal policy, taxes and deficits. Despite Bush's earlier promise to rid my lips no new taxes, he ultimately approved tax increases to reduce the ballooning budget deficit. This decision drew criticism with the Republican Party and was a factor in his defeat in the 1992 election. But economically, it was considered a responsible fiscal move. And for the main event, uh, we put three main events. For the first is Gulf War in 1990 until 1991. One of the most prominent moments was when Iraq under Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait in August 1992. Bush responded by forming an international coalition of 39 countries under a UN mandate to force Iraq to withdraw. This military operation, known as Operation Desert Storm, began in January 1991 and successfully expelled Iraq forces from Kuwait in just 6 weeks. This success enhanced Bush's global reputation as an effective leader in forming and leading international coalition. Second is invasion of Panama in 1989. Bush ordered a military invasion of Panama under the name Operation Just Cause to overthrow dictator Manuel Noriega. The reason for the invasion included human rights violation, Noriega involvement in drug trafficking, and the protecting of American citizens in Panama. The operation was successful and Noriega was arrested and tried in the United States. The third is Madrid conferences in 1991. Bush, along with the Soviet Union, co-hosted the Madrid Peace Conference, which brought together Israel, Arab states, and the Palestinians. This is one of the first significant diplomatic efforts to advance the Middle East peace process. And for the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan, it's important to clarify that the major invasion of Iraq in 2003 and Afghanistan in 2001 were not George Herbert Walker Bush policies, but rather of those of his son, George Walker Bush, was serving as US President from 2001 to 2009. George H.W. Bush only led the 1991 Gulf War without pursuing a full invasion of Iraq. His goal at the time was to expel Iraq forces from Kuwait, not to overthrow Saddam Hussein. His decision not to pursue the invasion of Baghdad was seen as a diplomatic and realistic step to maintain regional stability.
So, by that, George Bush typically lead, is it a rough one or a wise one? So basically, during the time of a major global change, including the end of the Cold War and the Gulf War in 1991, instead of acting alone, he built an international coalitions through the United Nations to push back Iraq's invasions of Kuwait. He used diplomacy and cooperation over aggressions, a wise and strategic approach to foreign policy. However, in the US, he made controversial decisions to raise taxes despite promising and not to. Many saw this a political weakness, while others believe it shows responsibility and realism, putting the nation's needs before his popularity. Next slide, please. Then, how should we see as a leader? By that, in foreign affairs, he claims as the calm one, a careful one, and collaborative. But in the domestic policy, he debated that was it weaknesses or wisdom. His leadership invites us to reflect, quote unquote, is true leadership about boldness or knowing when to compromise. Bush may not have been loud, but he was deliberate. Sometimes what strength is the wisest from the power.
So, in conclusion, as we can reflect, as we can see, as we can heard before from our presentation, we just can conclude that he is a not very good president, but at that time he is a good president because he trying his way, his best way to end the Cold War at his administration at the time, and also he was a moderate conservative, as I said before, who valued diplomacy over the domination, alliances over arrogance, and also the principle over the popularity. The Bush domestically less ambition. His terms was marked by economic recession and thought decision because at the time that was a very chaotic situation, chaotic moment, including breaking his own non-new taxes promises for sake of the country's fiscal health. In the end, George H.W. Bush may not be remembered for charisma or dramatic change, but rather for kind of leadership that is often undervalued, like calm, disciplined, thoughtful, and deeply committed to service. His presidency reminds us that the true leadership is not always loud, but sometimes it also measured in restraint, in respect for others, and it requires strength to do what is right, even when it is not easy moment. So that's all from us, from the group one. If you guys have any question towards this presentation, you may.
Let's give lots of so if you notice that in some that we see that he has very long portfolio, particularly in diplomacy and foreign policy affairs. So it's kind of questions that to have good foreign policy, do you need to have leaders who have those experience, or anyone actually maybe can be leaders? The other one in some that. Maybe we see a lot of people now maybe blaming George H.W. Bush because you not finished Saddam Hussein, that he came back to hunt you back, something like that. So, how we as maybe leaders think in this kind of very it's difficult, right? Because we cannot predict what is the future, but at the same time, if you become too aggressive, that may create instability. So how you see the conclusions of a problem? So do you think that conclusions of problem means that eliminating enemies, or actually just maintaining those balance or something? And lastly, the kind of the challenge of from the domestic issues, prioritizing on foreign policy or domestic, not all the leaders have the capability to focus on. Yeah, so that's maybe some of the questions that we can elaborate more. But I would like to invite maybe one or two questions. Yeah, from the student. Or George H.W. Bush. No? No, ask the question. No, okay. So I would just okay, so no questions or comments? Some maybe clarification of some of the information. So I assume that you did very well then. No? Okay. So again, we will continue the discussion later on because all are connected. Yeah. So let's give another for other groups, so please complete the assessment. Okay. Yeah. And we'll take a 10-minute break. Then we will continue with the Clinton and Yes, let's have a break. 10-minute break. Yeah. 10 minutes. Yeah. Oh, break. Oh, break. And the second group, yang grup 2 silakan mau catat. Oh, iya.